Good morning to the unity of Austin's children. I am Miss Janelle, and I am here to do this week's lesson with you, and just tell you how much we miss you, and that we all are just hanging in there, and we're still here. We're still here, and we're just on video now. We're just on a screen for a little bit. So I'm very excited to do this week's lesson. I love this story. And so first of all, the affirmation for this week is God is everywhere within me and around me. And that reminds me of our God box in the classroom. So do you remember the box where we would open it up and inside we would pull things out? So for example, we would pull out a feather. And I'd say, where does a feather come from? And you would say, a bird. And what's inside of a bird? God. And then we would pull out a pine cone. And I'd say, where does a pine cone come from? And you would say, a tree. And what's inside of a tree? God. And how about if I pull out a shell? A shell. Where does a shell come from? You might say the ocean. And what's inside the ocean? God. And it's really about the light and the power of God that is within everything around us. So once again, the affirmation is, God is everywhere within me and around me. So let's just take a moment and let's just breathe that in. So take a deep breath, and as you do, God is everywhere within me and around me. Ready? Do it with me. God is everywhere within me and around me. Let's release that out into the universe. God is everywhere within me and around me. And this week's story is it's called The Elephant. And this was adapted from an Indian folklore. Folklore is a story that's been passed down generation to generation, and stories that are told. So this has just been changed a little bit. We've kind of taken this on. So here we go. Sit back, relax, and listen to the story of the elephant. Long ago, at the foot of the tall Himalayan mountains, was a small school. This school was unusual because all the students were blind. Janik was their wise and gentle teacher. One day, Janik received a letter, which he read to the class. Dear cousin, I will be traveling past your village in a few weeks' time, and I would like to visit your school. Tell your students that I will be traveling by elephant. Your loving cousin. What's an elephant like? All the students asked excitedly. They had all lived their lives in the mountains and did not know about the animals on the plains. You will find out, was all Janik would say. The day Janik's cousin arrived on his elephant, the class was too excited to study. Janik announced, today the elephant will be our teacher. The children gathered around the elephant, and Janik led one to the long trunk and one to the bristly tail. Then he took two students to the side of the elephant, and they stretched up tall to feel the tough skin. Janik's cousin helped two of the blind children touch the elephant's strong legs. Finally, Janik lifted the smallest student on his shoulders, and the child reached out to feel the flapping elephant's ears. All the children carefully explored their part of the elephant, exclaiming in wonder and delight. Later, they sat under a tree and talked about what they had discovered. So tell me what an elephant is like, Janik said. An elephant is like a big, long snake, said one student. An elephant is like a bristly rope, the first two students explained. No, an elephant is like a tall, rough wall that breathes, called out two more. That's not so. An elephant is not like any of those. It is like a strong, sturdy tree, argued two more. You are all wrong. An elephant is like a large, flapping fan that stirs the hot air, the smallest student said confidently. Janek's cousin could not help laughing at each student's loudly proclaimed that they experienced. Janek's cousin could not help laughing as each student loudly proclaimed that what they experienced of the elephant was right and all the others were wrong. Janek let them argue until the children grew tired of their own voices. Finally, all was quiet, and every face turned towards him. You are all right, Janek said with a smile. And you are all wrong, he added, still smiling at their puzzled faces. Let's go back to our teacher, the elephant. One by one, Janek and his cousin led the students around the entire elephant, and they all touched the snake-like trunk, the rope-like tail, the wall-like sides, the tree-like legs. Then each one was lifted up so that they could touch the flapping ears. The youngest student said, I think we learned a lot from our teacher, elephant, today. All of our experience were true, but none of us knew the whole truth. The children all cheered when Janek's cousin asked, who would like to experience riding an elephant? So now I ask you, here's a fun little, I thought about this. So take your fingers like you're looking through a binocular. So I'm gonna take my glasses off so I can get my hands really close to my face. Okay. So now, if you were gonna describe your room, the room that you're sitting in, to somebody, without turning your head, you would only describe what is immediately in front of you, right? What you can see in this little hole. And you're right, that is your room. That is the room that you're sitting in. That is absolutely correct. Now, try this. Open your hands a little bit more and shift your eyes. Don't move your head, just shift your eyes. And now, think about how you would describe where you're sitting now and how different it is compared to this. So now we're here and we're just shifting our eyes. And now take your hands away, turn your head and start at one corner and go all the way around the room that you're in. And now I want you to think about how you would describe it. Because the truth is that we all have our own experiences with stuff. So my job takes me out, even though we are all staying at home. My job, I have to go out. So my experience of what's happening right now is a little different than maybe yours. Or I know it's different for even people living in my house. My wife, Darcy, and our son, Zach. Each one of us has our own experiences going on. And so if we came home at the end of the day and told each other about what it felt like during this time, each one of us would have a different story. Each one of us would have a different experience. It doesn't make any one of us right or wrong. It's our experience. So when you take that out into the world and you hear people talk about their experience, even though it may not be your experience, it doesn't mean that they're wrong. And so instead maybe of sometimes we're inclined to say, no, you're wrong. That's not right at all. Instead, let's try and see if we can find how we're similar in our experiences. Just a thought. And then there was one other thing. It was a part of the lesson. When are the times that you feel God within you? And for me, a lot. I'm gonna be honest with you, a lot. Definitely when I'm feeling gratitude, when I'm grateful for what I have, when I'm got a full belly, and I know that there's plenty of food, and when I get to go to work and I get to do things like this for the church and I get to volunteer, and even when things are not so good, I know that God is within, and I just need to tap into that. For me, the God within is my joy, and joy means a lot to me. So I wanted you to reflect on that, and also to understand that your perspective, that's what that's called. Your perspective is not right or wrong. It just is yours, and you get to own it and you get to keep it. And maybe if you understand that your perspective might be a little bit narrow, it just sometimes just means that you just have to turn your head and you just have to look around, and you have to open your eyes and your heart to other perspectives. All right, kids, thank you so much for your time. We miss you. I'm going to go ahead and bless you. We love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. And we behold the Christ in you. And let's close out with our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. In fact, I will do it in sign language for you guys. Okay? So the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you. I'll see you soon.